Hi. Canada or Australia? Which country should you move to? This is a question about which I thought a lot many years ago. I did a lot of research to compare the two countries, and finally I decided I wanted to move to Canada. The common pros between both countries is, of course, both are economically developed countries. There are a lot of employment opportunities. You enjoy a good quality of life in both Australia and Canada. Passports of both countries are very strong. You can travel to a lot of countries visa free. Education system is excellent. Kids get free education, free healthcare in both of these countries. But there are some major differences. The biggest drawback for Canada is its weather. It can get quite cold here in winters. Even in cities like Toronto, the weather can drop to -15, and with the wind chill factor, it can even feel like -30 at times. So that can be rough. But on the other hand, the exposure to the weather is very less. Like the cars have heaters in them, all the buildings are centrally heated. So the actual amount of time you're exposed to this cold weather is very less. Even the manufacturing plants, the factories are mostly indoors. So even the engineers out there don't have to worry about being exposed to those cold temperatures. Australia, on the other hand, doesn't have such a severe weather, especially winters. Another pro for Canada is its proximity to the United States. So a lot of Canadians actually go work in the US because if you are a Canadian citizen, the process of getting a job in US and getting the visa isn't that hard. You can actually get a work visa at the United States border if you have a job offer from Canada. So that also gives a lot of opportunities because US is one of the biggest markets for many multinational companies. Canadians are really nice people. They're welcoming. There's a lot of diversity out there. People are very tolerant of each other. Even if you read online forums and compare the two countries, you can see there's a lot of tolerance in Canada, which I've personally really enjoyed. For me personally, there was one single factor that helped me decide which country to move to very easily, and that was the policies of the two countries towards the parents of immigrants. In Australia, if you want to sponsor someone, you either have to wait for about 30 years for a normal visa fee, which if I remember correctly was $5,000 a few years ago. And if you want to accelerate this process, if you of course think that you cannot wait 30 years to sponsor your parents, you have to go through a specific type of visa called a contributory parent visa, through which you have to pay roughly 45,000 Australian dollars per parent to sponsor them into Australia. And even for that, you have to spend a few years in Australia first. Then you actually pay this money, the processing starts, and in a few years they can come to Australia. Canada, on the other hand, has two very nice visas. The first one is the super visa, through which you can sponsor your parents and grandparents to come live with you for 2 years, up to 10 years, multiple entry. The other option is the sponsorship program. This year, for example, 20,000 people were able to sponsor their parents and grandparents through the sponsorship program. And the fee for this program is also not outrageous. It's similar to other programs for permanent residents in Canada. When I saw that it's easier, much easier for my parents to come live with me in Canada, I chose this option. And I can tell you there isn't a single day that I regretted that choice. Thank you very much for watching.